This is Rob Tebbutt for ID Boxing. Delighted to be joined by Shane Fury. We're here in Manchester ahead of Joe Joyce versus Joseph-Parker. Shane, been a little while. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm glad to be listen, not a part of it, but I'm glad to be here, supporting Joe and watching the boys. And listen, it's going to be a potential fight of the decade potentially, but it's got the potential to be a very good fight.
Now, you mentioned you're here to support Joe. Now, I know you know Joe Joyce. I know you know Joseph-Parker.
Yeah.
Which Joe are you here to support?
Both of them. Both of them. Listen, I was just talking to Big Joe Joyce. Listen, nicest man you meet in your life. And Parker, all exactly the same. And the two of them are the nicest men in boxing, and they get on very well with the two of them. And if any one of them was to fight anyone else, I'd be 100% in the corner. Anyone else, 100% in their corner, backing them. But Joe Parker, he's become a relative to us. He's become a close friend. I would say more like family, more like a cousin than a friend. And he's a lovely man. He's an armless big giant. What could kill you? But he's just a nice person. And I'm unfortunately with Big Joe Joyce, and I spoke to him. It's only sport. I'm backing Parker for this one, but I do respect Big Joe Joyce, and I like him as a person as well. And I do think he's a very good fighter as well.
You mentioned Joseph-Parker kind of becoming an adopted family member up in Morecambe Bay. He said to me he's been in New Zealand, he's been in Las Vegas, he's now in Morecambe. What is about him that's settled down so well from a personal perspective, but also from a boxing perspective?
Do you know what? I don't really know why he settled down as good, but similarities. Nice people get along with each other. We are what we are. Me, myself, I'm probably a bit straight for most people, because I'm probably a little bit abrupt and I'm too straight. There's no skullduggery, there's no slyness. It's either A or nay. And Joseph-Parker, I don't think there's a bad bone in Joseph's body. Tyson is exactly the same. I've knew Tyson all my entire life, and I've never once known him to cause an argument, to cause a conflict, to do anything wrong. Any bad doing has been someone else's fault with Tyson. So when two people get off on that, when two people get together like that, they're going to be friends. And another thing with Joe's got a lovely family, and they do anything for him. But I might have this wrong, but they're not boxing people; they're normal people. And the thing what they want is for Joe to be happy and healthy, and that's it. Same as any other parent. But what Tyson's got, he's got a family around him. What the boxing means as much to me for Tyson doing it that it does with Tyson. And he's got brothers, all of us what feel the same. He's got father what's the same, and he's full families around him. With Joe, he's over in Vegas by himself. He's in the house by himself. He's when he's come to be Tyson's friend, and Tyson become Joe's friend, it's a team. He's got us behind him. Now I'm a nobody. I go to work like any other man, but I like the boxing. I understand boxing, and I'm a part of it. If Joe, I'm not too close to Joe, but I like Joe and so on. But if Joe needs someone, we're there. You know what I mean? He's got a family in boxing, where before he was in an hotel by himself. He's got his brother there with him, but I'm sure his brother's he's got his kids at home and so on. There's a bit of a difference when he's over here. He's got when he's training, it's not a cesspit where it's mind-boggling and mind-destroying. It's a nice place to be, because he's going jogging with the lads. We're playing pool. We're talking silly. You know what I mean? It's a nice environment.
A lot's been made about Joe over the years, Joseph-Parker, being a nice guy, being almost too nice sometimes has been one of the criticisms of him. Now, I know Andy Lee stood just over there. He preaches that Kronk style. He goes for the knockout. What changes have you seen in Joseph-Parker in camp in preparation for this fight? Because he can't be Mr. Nice Guy against Joe Joyce.
No, he's the main change what I've seen in Joe Parker is his mindset. And the mindset can't be trained in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. It's a long process, the mindset. I can say one thing, but as 10 minutes goes by, it's diluting. And when it gets hard, guess what? Forget about it. When you've trained your mindset for 12 months, for 18 months to be a certain way, it's very hard to get in. It becomes an habit to get in that mindset. So that's the main thing. That's the main thing. But with him being with Andy, a teacher as well, and like you say, he trains for the knockout. Andy puts you at the right balance. Joseph-Parker's probably developed 20% more power than what he already had. And along with the teaching and the power and everything else, the main thing with the boxing ability, with the mindset, combined, he's a total different fighter. If you would have made Joe Joyce v Joseph Parker before he come with Andy, I would have made Joe Joyce a favourite quite handily. Now I'm making Parker the favourite.
Put your analytical hat on. Tell me what the good things that Joe Joyce does, the good things that Joseph Parker does, and how we're going to see that play out on Saturday night.
Joseph Parker, he moves well. He moves like a lighter man around the ring. Which in this fight you're not got to do that. He moves good footwork, very fast reflexes, punches solid, got a good chin, and he's never showed anything that he's a quitter. He digs in and everything he does. Joseph Parker, he's a Joe Joyce. He's a lump. When I say I heard it on the press conference saying, he said he was a lump. He is a lump. If he's not a lump, I don't know what a lump is. He's 6'8" and 20 stone and can fight all night. He's a lump, and that's a compliment. He's a lump. He's got very good footwork. Very good footwork. He's got good boxing ability. He looks a lot worse than what he actually is. Joe Joyce can actually box, and when you're in front of him, it's totally different. Totally different. And when everyone's thinking, he's easy to it and that there. We watched the Daniel Dubois fight. He wasn't too easy to it then because he understood that if this man hits me, keeps on hitting me, I'm going to go over. When you find people who you think you can walk through, and you can walk through, there's exactly the same with Tyson. You'll have the jitters, and you'll have to be on your game. And I think both men will be at the best.
We've seen photos of over the years where Joe Joyce has trained with Tyson Fury, particularly at Big Bear before the first Wilder fight. What do you remember of those spars?
Good spars. Big Joe Joyce give as good as work as Tyson's ever had. And he helped Tyson out that time. And listen, the main thing I can remember of Joe Joyce is that he is a really, really nice person. And that goes a long way with me. He's boxing and he's fighting. It speaks for himself. He's 6'8", and he's not going to look pretty. If you shrunk him down to 5'10" and 12 stone, he'd look like Muhammad Ali. But unfortunately, he's 6'8", 20 stone, so he's going to look clumsy. But I tell you what it is, it'll take a real good man to beat Joe Joyce. And I do believe Joe Parker is a good man, and we'll see. It'll be a good fight.
Final one on the fight on Saturday night. Everybody's talking about Joe Joyce, the juggernaut. He's got an iron chin, his stamina. Any man can be hurt though, right? And Joseph Parker's going to be in there. He's an 18-stone man himself. I'm sure that's going to be the game plan from Andy Lee, as we've said, that Kronk style. Go in there and do some damage.
Well, I don't think there's such thing. I think there's such thing as being weak-chinned and glass-chinned. But there is no such thing as having an iron chin, especially in heavyweight boxing. I don't know if you've seen it. You probably would have seen. Have you ever seen a round rock with a drip on it? And it's probably been dripping on there for 20 years, but then it's got a big dump on it. Well, that's the same thing. If you keep on getting hit, you might have a solid chin. But you keep on getting hit, you'll go. And that cannot be Joe Joyce's plan, to think you can walk through world-class men, because if it is, he needs to change trainers and get with someone else, which I know that's not the case. Anyone can be when you mess with heavyweights as well, and he's got too good of a trainer in his corner in order for that to be any forms of a game plan. That's a very good asset to have, to be tough and can be able to take a shot, but to have an iron chin, there's no such thing.
We've mentioned his name. Let's talk about him. Tyson Fury, of course, your brother. We are waiting to hear about what's happening with a potential bout with Anthony Joshua. What can you tell me, Shane?
I can tell you very little, barring that I hope it does happen. I am not optimistical that it will happen. I don't think it will. I think it's a bit of a stunt for fucking Joshua. It would have been much easier for Joshua to just say at the start, we're not ready for it. I don't want to go down that path. And no one would have said anything. But I don't know how he's going to riddle his way out. And if I was to put money on it, I can't see it happening. I'd love to see it to happen, because I believe styles make fights, and I believe Joshua's made for Tyson. But whether it'll happen or not, I don't believe it will.
Anthony Joshua, of course, we saw him a matter of weeks ago lose to Alexander Usyk, a second consecutive loss. If the fight was to happen on December the 3rd, do you feel that you'd be facing or Tyson would be facing the best version of Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, I do, yeah. I do. He's definitely going to be facing the best physical Anthony Joshua because he's going back-to-back training camps. And, you know, Joshua, that fight, he actually done himself proud because he done the best he could. He done the best he could, and he couldn't do no more. You know, it ain't his fault that he's not whether it's a problem or whether he's just not blessed with the stamina. You know, he went out for the night round, put everything in, and then he was goosed at the end. He actually couldn't do no more. So he'd done his best, and he just wasn't good enough. But styles do make fights. A tricky southpaw, what's moving and slipping everything you throw, it's hard work. You know, and if you've not got the attributes to actually do anything different, it's if you haven't got the attributes to do something what needs to be done, it's hard because you're not going to beat him in a tip-tapping competition. Thing is with Tyson, if Tyson ever fights Usyk, if Tyson can't outbox Usyk, which will be difficult, which I think Tyson's more than capable of doing, Tyson's got the ability to bang his gloves together, round 1, and go to war, level 10, 6th gear, and go from round 1 to round 12. And if you can beat Tyson with that, fair play to you.
You mentioned you think Anthony Joshua was stylistically made for Tyson. Is the Usyk fight a harder fight then for Tyson than the Joshua fight in your opinion?
If Usyk, if you take the southpaw stance from Usyk, Tyson could beat Usyk with one hand. But considering he's a southpaw, then it's difficult because it throws a lot of spanners in the work. It is. I can see it being two things. I can see it in a difficult fight, or I can see it being a demolition, and that's the two. There's no in between grounds with me. It's either demolition. I mean, feeling him, ragging him up and down like a pit bull, hitting him everywhere, and just leaning all. I sparred Tyson the other day, obviously, and I'll stay here, but he didn't even punch me, and he leant all over me, and he ragged me, and he leant me, and I couldn't breathe. And he was, Huey done the same. He said, you can't get nothing off. He's a big unit. And when you're with him, you don't feel him that he's as big as what he is. But when you don't see him for a month or a couple of weeks, you look at him, you think, God almighty, he's big. He's a big unit, he's strong. And I tell you what else he's doing. For some reason or other, he's developed, I would say, 40% more power. I was holding the pads with him, and he was shugging his shots out with his shoulder, and he was chugging my hands off. He was hurting me through the pads, and he's developed a lot of power, and he's strong. He's become like, he's that width, but he's also that deep across. He's a man. He's a big man now. He's 6'9", and he's come slowly. But in the same aspect, he's more vulnerable now than what he's ever been because he's giving you more chance to hit him.
Okay, well, I've taken up enough of your time, Shane. I know you've been a very...
I can talk all day.
You're a popular man over here. You're a man in
I'm definitely my father's son because I could sit here all day talking shite. But listen, it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
Well, thank you very much. And before I let you go, I will bring it back to Saturday night. You're back in Joseph-Parker, as you've said. Does he get the stoppage? Does he end the juggernaut? Is that what you're predicting inside the distance?
I don't know. I hope no one gets stopped. I hope it's just a good fight, and I hope it's a good fight, and both men come out of the ring healthy and strong. And if ever someone does get stopped, I hope they both get up on the count of 8 and the referee stops it and they're in full faculties after the fight and they give each other a cuddle and so on. And may the best man win. And like Higgins said, if one man wins, give it to him. You know, it is what it is. But main priority is both men come out the ring healthy and strong.
Well said. Shane Fury, always a pleasure. Thanks very
you.
much for speaking
Cheers,
to ID Boxing.